Welcome to this week's Theme Deck Tuesday. I'm going to be having some fun with the Stormcaller deck. Have been a little while since I've played this deck, so just kind of in the mood to have a bit of fun. Don't always have the best of luck with it, as it does have some good consistency options, but I do typically find myself drawing quite poorly with the deck, so we'll have to see how we get on with it today. It did of course feature in my top 10 theme decks video, so you can go ahead and check that video out if you haven't already. I'll leave a link in the description, as well as a link to the overall review of this deck, which I did if you did miss that one and you'd like to check out the deck list as a whole and my overall thoughts on the individual card combos. Then you can go ahead and check that out as well. But it is certainly a good card. It has a good selection of trainer cards and Pokemon overall, so be sure to continue to check out the other previous Theme Deck Tuesday videos if you haven't already. So if you are new here, be sure to subscribe down below. Do post videos multiple times a week, just like this one. Do have a lot of fun decks that I like to play, so definitely good to check out those when I can. I kind of want to play the Professor Kukui here to deal 30 damage to this Charmander. Since the Charizard does have quite a lot of HP, kind of want to get some damage in nice and early here while we have the opportunity. And we do have some evolutions that we can work in here. Since we have the Fluffy, that's really going to help us in order to get the Ampharos out as quickly as we can. Really going to be good. Hopefully we draw into the Zebstrika here. That would be ideal off of the How. My opponent is also going to be hitting us for 30 damage, which isn't great, as we're going to be getting knocked out before they are. But we have the How. Let's see what we draw into. Just a Nest Ball. Not quite what I was looking for, but we will play this down for sure. See if there's anything that we can use to draw cards. We have the Furfrou, which is definitely what I want here in order to get some guaranteed draws. Do we want to go ahead and hit for 20? Potentially, because then we'll put them down to 50. I believe the Charizard has 170, so that could be pretty decent overall, and it is a decent option to go in with, I suppose. The other option is just attacking with the Furfrou. It does have more HP, and we will be able to draw a card. We're also hitting for 20 damage still for 1 energy, so this seems reasonable. Go with this instead. We get to draw an additional card, and we have the How or the Titan Laser for the following turn, which is going to be pretty good for getting us a fresh couple of cards off the top. That's going to be ideal, as we really need the Zebstrika in order to ensure we have that sprint ability to quickly draw through our deck as fast as we can. Looks like my opponent doesn't have much going on though. They have to retreat into the Yanma, or switch in this case I suppose, and we could just continue to draw cards with How, but I kind of like going in with the Titan Laser here to ensure that we get different cards in our hand. And we do have the Furfrou, so if we can play our hand down a little bit, then that's going to be great. And we do find an Ampharos, which is excellent. That's going to help us out a ton. An escape rope is going to be useful, but not quite yet, so we will just go for an attack here. We get to draw 1 card at least, but like I said, we do get that Ampharos into play pretty much as quickly as we can. We've been able to evolve every single turn here, so that's definitely what you want to see with this deck, getting that Ampharos down nice and early, and then we can go ahead and use the escape rope on this following turn and hit my opponent for 50 damage on both of these Pokemon, which is going to knock them both out. I believe the Yanma here does have 80 HP though, so not quite a knockout on the Yanma just yet. We do also miss energy, so we're going to have to find a way to get some more energy here. I guess we could always go for a Kukui, try and retreat, hit our opponent, but I think we're better off just going for a copycat, recycling our hand, putting it back into the deck, and we get a much better hand here. This has actually worked out very well, as we have the Naganadel and the Zebstrika to work with. So Naganadel is going to allow us to power itself up nice and easily here, since it does have the colorless attack cost. We have the energy going on to the Ampharos, and I believe actually it is weak to fire. That is a shame. It's usually a flying type which is weak to lightning, but in this case it is weak to fire, so a little unfortunate. But we do have sprint, we don't need any of these cards, so I'm quite happy discarding them, and we can get some fresh ones here. We could also paralyze my opponent right here, as well as go for the attack with the Ampharos. So let's go ahead and retreat. And quite happy doing this, as we're going to be able to take out the Charmander on the bench. The question is, do we want to go ahead and paralyze as well? My opponent could get the Yanmega, which would be able to get them out of the paralysis. So kind of want to just hold on to these energies for now. So let's hold this hand, take out the Charmander, so they're not able to get that Charizard. So even more reasons that it was good for us to get that early damage in on the Charmander, so we could get the knockout with Ampharos here. And if my opponent doesn't have any more basic Pokemon, we are going to be able to take the win against this Charizard deck, which is awesome, as they've definitely been struggling to get set up. But there is the Yanmega, so definitely glad that I didn't paralyze them. Kind of figured that they would be able to find it if they didn't already have it in their hand. And they are going to continue to attach energy onto it. They don't have any other basic Pokemon, so we are in a great spot here to win the game. They have 70 HP, so they have 60 remaining. I mean 70 damage on them, so 60 HP remaining. I don't know what I mean, but we'll continue to use Naganadel here. Get that energy charged up nice and quick. Let's also go for the How. A little unfortunate we don't have the Kukui. We could have won right there, but we can certainly paralyze our opponent. Also, a little bit of a shame, but we don't have the Raikou. I suppose with the Naganadel we are hitting for the 80 damage, so we can actually retreat into Naganadel and get the knockout this way. And that is going to be game for us. Winning our first game very quickly in a matter of, I'd say, what was that, maybe 5 turns? Pretty quick for our opponent to just not get set up. They weren't able to find anything that they were looking for, and meanwhile we got our stage 2 set up, as well as all of our stage 1s as well. The only thing that we were missing there was the Raikou to make that even better, but honestly that was a perfect game for this deck, and you'll love to see that. Let's get into another one and see how we get on in that game. Alrighty, game 2 here. We have a rematch against the Charizard deck, just the plain, more modern Charizard theme deck, not the Relentless Flame one. Certainly they are good options either way though, so we'll have to see what we can make happen in this game, as we have a bit more of an interesting start. We do have some good openings though, as we have the Nest Ball as well as the Pokemon Fan Club to start us off. So let's get down our Flaffy? No, not Flaffy, the Mareep. Fluffy is the stage 1. I can never remember the basic, but we got a Mareep down. That's definitely what we want. And we'll also go for a Pokemon Fan Club, getting a Blitzel as well as possibly another Mareep. I suppose we could also get a Furfrou, but it looks like we've prized the Furfrou. That is a bit of a shame, as we really need that in this matchup so that we can get some good draws going like the previous game. But this is a fine start overall. I'll quite happily attach onto the Mareep and we'll pass it over to our opponent. They have gone for the classic energy onto the Charmander to start it off. They're going to be looking for a Charizard, so we'll see if my opponent gets set up a little bit better than the previous game, and they are able to win the Rock Paper Scissors, which is very sad for us as they do get to draw an additional 2 cards. They also get the Great Ball, grabbing them the Charizard off the top, and we see they have the Charmeleon, so they now have the entire Charizard line at their disposal, which is very scary as we really don't have a lot to work with here. And we're also getting hit for 60 damage, which isn't great either. My opponent has to mill themselves, but they really don't mind about milling themselves whatsoever here. We'll go ahead and attach to the other Mareep that we have available, and then we'll play the Lady Supporter, which is going to get us 4 basic energies out of the deck. We only have lightning energies in this deck, so that's all we can grab, and we'll pass it over to our opponent. Our hand is looking pretty much as big or bigger than our opponent's hand now, but it is just all energy, so nothing too useful. My opponent does have the Charizard set up now, so they're going to be able to use that excellent ability, Battle Sense, to look at the top 3 cards of their deck, pick out anyone that they want, and then discard the other 2. Very strong indeed for ensuring that you have consistency. Doesn't look like they're using it though, they're just drawing with the hop and they're going for an attack on us, which definitely gets a knockout, as 100 damage is a lot considering we only have basic Pokemon out at the moment. We'll go ahead and promote our Mareep though, since we do have the nice attack on here which could potentially paralyze our opponent, and we do also have a Kukui to increase that damage. Let's Timer Ball first though. We do get a single heads, which is going to be pretty useful here for getting out a Flaffy. The other option is getting a Zebstrika, I suppose, but we would lose quite a bit of energy if we do that. Could be very useful though for ensuring that we have some good draws. We do still have quite a bit of energy in the deck, and we always have the Naganadel as an option, so you know what, I'm going to get the Zebstrika so we can ensure that we get some good draws. Let's attach an energy onto the benched Mareep, and we'll also Professor Kukui. Okay, we do get a Flaffy, which is very nice here. Definitely what we were looking for, and we get down another Blitzel. Let's go for the sprint. Yes, we want to use it. I'm aware of what I'm about to do. And we are getting 4 fresh cards to work with. Very good for the following turn. And let's see if we can get a paralysis on the Charizard. That would make it even better. Ah man, we get a Tails, but at least we did 30 damage. That is going to get us a little bit closer towards getting the knockout on this Charizard, going down to 140 HP remaining. Let's once again play rock, paper, scissors, and we win this time. So no extra cards for my opponent, just the initial 2 from the Dan there. So very good there. My opponent getting set up though with some extra evolutions, just the Macargo. Not a very good Pokemon to be attacking with, as it does have such a high attack cost. And they are also forgetting to use that powerful ability Battle Sense on the Charizard, so that's definitely their loss. It is very much well worth using, but if they don't want to use it, then that's up to them, I suppose. We are able to get some more energies in our hand, which is pretty scary because, as I said, we did just discard a lot of energy, so don't really want to be discarding any more with our sprint, but we'll certainly attach one onto Zebstrika before using our Lily. Get to draw 3 cards here. None of them are going to be particularly good, so we really need that Ampharos to start attacking. So we'll just have to pass over to my opponent. And yeah, I think we had 10 left in the deck. We've drawn into 4 energies, so we should still have 6 energy in the deck, which is reasonable, but we really need that Naganadel down in order to power itself up with the energies from the discard. In addition to that Ampharos, we really need the energies in our hand so that we can paralyze our opponent with Ampharos. Looks like my opponent is getting another Charizard slowly set up though, which is going to be great in order to have a backup if we do actually get a knockout on this active Charizard, but at the moment I highly doubt that is going to happen. We don't really have any good attacks to work with either, since the Zebstrika does 60, which is not terrible, but certainly not going to be great, and the attack Signal Beam on this Flappy is only dealing 40 damage plus confusion. Sure, the confusion could help, but they do have a very small retreat cost of 3, which, I mean, honestly I thought it was 2, which is why I said it was small, but okay, 3 is a bit more than small. I'm sure they do have plenty of Switch in their hand though, so probably not going to be confusing my opponent anytime soon. Definitely a complete flip side compared to the previous match that we played, where we were easily getting set up and getting everything that we needed, but this game has been a total struggle to get anything going really, so that is just the 2 sides of the coin that this deck can have. It has some good games like the previous match, and then it can have some very bad games like this one, where we're not able to get much of anything going, unfortunately. We do get the Ampharos down at long last, so that is certainly something that can help us out here. We could paralyze our opponent, but that's not going to be super good, as they might have a switch with that large hand. I'm tempted to do it though, since we are only going to be hitting for 60 damage, so you know what, let's go for it. We do have to Lost Zone our energy, so we're going to be losing out on those, but we get to at least paralyze our opponent and hit them for 60 damage. Tempted to play down these other cards so that we can use Sprint, but I think we'll just attack them for now. it's going to be very difficult to actually get a knockout here since they have so much HP overall. They're only sitting on 90 damage, so they still have 80 HP remaining, and we are only hitting for 60 damage at a time, which isn't great. My opponent plays down a Leon, so do they have an attack here for knockout? They do. They have the switch, so they can come in and hit us for 150 or 180 because of the buff from Leon, which is going to be enough to get the knockout here. And there's really nothing else that we can do. We'll promote our Ampharos, get some extra damage onto the board, but yeah, this is going to be game on our end, or on my opponent's end I should say. I guess we'll attach to a Raikou, as it is a good attacker now that we have the energies in the Lost Zone. We do get a nice coin flip heads on the Kahili, which is going to put it back into our hand. Do like that effect on the supporter card there, but Rescue Stretcher, not going to be doing much. I guess we'll grab back the basic for our Naganadel here, the Poipole. Rescue Stretcher allowing us to get back a Pokemon from discard into our hand, so we do have that at least, and we can attack our opponent. We'll put 50 across the two Charizards. That kind of makes sense to me. Want to wear both of them down, but they most likely just have the knockout. I mean, Ampharos has 150 HP. My opponent already has one Leon in discard, which is going to guarantee that 150 damage, so they really don't have to find anything else at this stage in the game. We can at least get one knockout though, as we can promote our Raikou, deal 120 damage, and that is going to be enough to knock out the active Charizard, taking it up to 170 damage on there, but they have plenty of backup attackers in order to close out this game. So as I said, it is a pretty open and shut case this time around. My opponent finally opting to use that ability on Charizard definitely makes sense, but they certainly should have used it a lot sooner as they had it available, but perhaps they just forgot to use it. That is certainly an option here, and they do use the benched one as well, which makes sense, getting to increase their hand size as well overall to find the last couple of pieces that they're needing. And here is the attack. Our Ampharos is going down for sure, and we can promote our Raikou like I mentioned, so that we can at least get an attack and actually take a prize card in this match. We'll play out our hand as well, why not? Make sure that we make use of everything and just really show off the various combos that this deck has available. Go for a Nest Ball, search out a Mareep I suppose, why not? And we'll go for another Kahili to draw 2. Can we get a heads again? Nice, we do get a head. I'll take that. I'll play down this Blitzel and go for a nice knockout with our Raikou. So we do at least take one prize card, and I think you do earn coins or the ladder currency for the amount of prizes that you take, so even if you lose. So hey, taking prizes is definitely worth it, and here we go, my opponent comes in with the knockout with the Yanmega rather than Charizard. Not that it matters, but they do close out the game as we can see here, and here we're getting some challenges done, so I'll take that as well, but unfortunately not able to win that one. Let's go in for a third game, make this a best of 3, and see if we can win that one in order to win the series. Getting started with our third match, we're not up against the Charizard deck again. Thank goodness for that, but I mean it would have made sense if it is a best of 3, but looks like we are up against a fire deck nonetheless. So fire decks all around today, very popular, and certainly the Cinderace one is just as good as the Charizard deck that we've been playing against. So we'll see how we get on this time around, but we have a pretty reasonable opener, honestly. It looks very similar to the first match that we played, going for the attachment plus Kukui. Going to be trying some more energy, which isn't great, but at the very least we can attack our opponent for 30 damage. Could potentially have gone in with the Mareep and hit for 30 with that instead, had the potential of using the paralysis, but honestly I want to just protect the Mareep, try and get the Ampharos into play if we can, but given our hand it is probably not going to happen anytime soon unless we top deck a good supporter. I'm talking like a fan club or perhaps a copycat, something like that. Even just something like another Kukui would be welcome at this stage in order to draw some cards. Heck, I'll even take a lady. At least then we're drawing essentially 4 cards. Sure, they're all energy, but you are taking those cards out of the deck, so you're getting better draws. And that's what it's all about in theme deck format. My opponent gets the turn 2 Ninetales, which is very good as they're able to start attacking very efficiently for 70 damage, and that is pretty much all you can hope for in theme deck format, getting those nice efficient attacks which are going to do damage for you nice and quickly. Let's go and play our escape rope here though, since we don't want that Ninetales in the active spot. Get that thing out of here and we don't have to deal with it for at least a couple of turns. We will try and go for the paralysis though, 10 damage, and man, it is tails again, so no paralysis for us this time around. Hopefully we have another turn though to try and draw into supporter card. My opponent will be playing out their hand, so looks like they don't have a great supporter either. They did just play the Pokekid on the previous turn there, searching out a Pokemon, so don't look like they have a supporter, but they have a switch, which is definitely all they need here in order to get another attack off of 70 damage. And that 70 is all they need to clear up our basic Pokemon here. We're top taking another Mareep. That's 2 turns in a row back to back. We've drawn Mareep, which is fine for getting into the Ampharos, but certainly is not going to be super helpful here. We do get the heads though, and the very turn that we needed out, we get the heads on the paralysis coin flip. So my opponent is going to be forced to find another switch here in order to get out of the paralysis and get another attack in on us. Could this be the start of our good luck and we could actually start getting some big paralysis coin flips in? Let's see if we get another heads this time around. No, we get another tails. My opponent is going to be able to take out another Mareep. The second Mareep going down, unfortunately, and the top deck, the Professor's Research, completely playing out their hand, so they get just 7 cards off the top with no discard. Man, they've got everything going on right now, and I mean that is really why I love the Cinderace deck. It is just so efficient and it gets everything done that it needs to get done, and really it only has to hit us for 70 right here, but man, this sucks. Really showing that the consistency of this deck just isn't always there. I mean, maybe it's just my bad luck. I know a lot of other people are able to pilot this deck and get pretty good luck with it, but yeah, I never seem to get that, and that is probably one of the reasons that I haven't played the deck for a while. But hey, we are able to get into a Furfrou here and draw some cards, but probably going to be too little too late, as my opponent does have 3 prize cards remaining already, and we're struggling just to knock out this lone Ninetales in the active. We do draw into a Poiple though, as well as the Ampharos, so hey, if we're somehow able to get a Flaffy into play, then at least we have the Ampharos, and my opponent isn't able to take a knockout this turn. They are building up a pretty fierce and menacing bench back there though, that I'm very much aware of. Let's go ahead and attach the energy. I guess we'll put it onto the Poiple, that seems reasonable. We can also copycat here, get 6 cards instead of our measly hand that we had there. We do get into the Ultra Ball, which honestly I kind of want to discard the Raikou. It is reasonable, but I want to pare our hand down a little bit so that we can get some better draws from the Furfrou here. Let's go for the Flaffy, which draw back into the Ampharos, so absolutely going to be grabbing Flaffy from this Ultra Ball. Very powerful ball search card, and we can go for the attack again on Furfrou, drawing 2 cards and dealing 20 damage. So we're not out of this game just yet, definitely going to play it out and try our best to get some attacks off here. My opponent has the Hop to draw 3, definitely good for them. My opponent's Ninetales is going to be attacking though and getting the knockout. They have 90 on them, so just 30 HP remaining. It is pretty minuscule, and we do have the Ampharos, so I think we're going to go in here with Ampharos and start swinging with it. We do have the Kukui as well, but I think I want to hold on to that. We get the Raikou. Yeah, let's just go for the Healy here, draw 2. Unfortunately, no heads, but we do get another Poiple we can play down. I suppose the Naganadel is really the main thing we are looking for though, but we have an attack that we can use, putting 50 onto the Ninetales in order to get it knocked out. and then we want to do 50 somewhere else as well, either this Cinderace or the Durampa. Either of those are going to be big threats for my opponent, so let's just go on to the Cinderace. I think that is going to be a primary threat in order to get rid of that, so it's going to take us quite a while. Going to need to get damage on there as quickly as we can. Hey, we do pull off the Naganadel for prizes, so that's pretty nice. My opponent brings up the Cinderace, so I was right, they are going to be hitting us with that, and going down to just one prize remaining, as they did need the Cinderace in order to knock us out, and they even get the heads on their turn as well, so they don't have to discard energy, which kind of sucks, but nothing we can do about that. We'll just go in here with our Naganadel and try and deal some big damage. We can attach energy, we can use the charging up ability to get the energy on there so we can easily attack with it, and we even have the Kukui as well, but we're only going to be drawing energies, which is not what we want to see. We could Rescue Stretcher, put the Ampharos line back in, but I'm fine right now just going for the attack of 100 damage, so a little bit short of the knockout, as my opponent is going to be able to survive by 10 HP, and they do have the energies, of course, in order to get the knockout and take their last prize card. So very similar to the previous match, the second game we had there, where we just couldn't set up and my opponent could, which is very unfortunate, but seems to be the trend whenever I play this Stormcaller deck. I just cannot get set up, apart from that one game at the start of the video. Other than that, I can never get set up with this deck, so let me know in the comments if you have better luck with it. I know a couple of people who certainly do have a lot of luck with this deck and have a lot of fun destroying people and paralyzing every turn, but I just can never get it to work for me, so that is just the way it is. I tend to avoid it for that reason. Hopefully you enjoyed the video though either way, and enjoyed that first game that we played. If you did, give it a like, and I'll see you in the next one.